You can answer a WAEC English comprehension passage in just 50 minutes instead of the usual allotted 30 minutes. Now, you might just give an excuse that sometimes you find it very hard understanding what a sentence in a passage means. Other times, your excuse is that you are completely unfamiliar with the vocabulary used in the passage, which clouds your general understanding. The real problem behind your lack of comprehension of comprehension passages is that you engage in passive reading of your passage instead of active reading. What you should understand by now is that you can still get a very good mark in the comprehension section of your English language paper without necessarily knowing the meaning of all the words or tenses used in the passage. Students who answer comprehension questions very well do not have access to the paper before the exam. They certainly do not know what vocabulary and idioms or phrases they will be tasked to find meaning to. They still pass that section very well regardless. If they can, so can you. You can equally answer comprehension passages very well too. The reason why other students are good at answering comprehension passages and you are not is because they employ some strategies when approaching the comprehension passage. They pay critical attention to time and also their reading strategies. These two factors will not only make you answer your passage on time, they will enable you to answer questions under a passage brilliantly. Don't just read a comprehension passage once and expect to understand it immediately. Depending on the strategy, it is advisable to read your comprehension passage 2 to 3 times or even 4 times. Don't get lazy rereading a boring passage presented to you by the examination office. The solution to getting your answer right at the beginning is reading the passage over again, but there is a way it should be done. The reading technique you want to use immediately you flip over your paper to the comprehension section is the skimming technique. The skimming technique is a fast and rapid way of reading a text in order to get a gist about what your passage is talking about. You don't waste time here. Your aim here is to run your eye quickly over the text to get a brief overview. When doing this, read the heading quickly if there is any. Glance through the first paragraph of your passage if there is any. The next thing is to read the first sentence of every paragraph in the passage and then read the conclusion. You have to make this process as fast as possible. Your role is not to understand anything in detail at this stage. A maximum of 2 minutes can be used for the skimming process. From skimming, we go to scanning. Now before you start scanning, go and read the questions under the comprehension passage. I know it is counterintuitive, but read the questions even though your understanding of the passage is limited at this point. After reading the questions, you can now begin scanning. Now, scanning is equally a speed reading technique, but the difference this time around is that your interest is not in getting the general information about the passage, but to search for specific or detailed information. This means that your search is purposeful, it is deliberate. There is a reason why you are asked to read the questions before scanning. That is because by scanning, you anticipate some clues that enable you to locate answers to some of the questions. Locating the possible answers to your questions under this stage will depend on the complexity of the passage. If you do find some answers, take note of their locations. Now, while you commit yourself to this process of scanning, take notice of words that have been boldened or italicized. You know very well that questions will definitely be asked about your understanding on their usage. Jot down all the possible ideas you get on the boldened words or phrases, that is if you think of any, and then move on to the next stage. 3 to 4 minutes should be enough to get you through the scanning process. The last strategy you should be using to cement your understanding of a passage is the close reading method. Over here, you take your time and then you read slowly at your own pace to identify answers to direct questions, answers to inferential questions, and applied questions. I explained these into detail in my previous video about how to answer comprehension questions effectively. You can find it in the description box below. Monitor in addition the context of how the underlined or boldened vocabulary are used in the passage. You know very well you'll be asked to find synonyms or antonyms to the boldened or italicized vocabulary in the passage. Pay close attention to phrases or idioms as well in order to fuel your understanding of the overall text. It is imperative that you must have equipped yourself with knowledge about these idioms or phrases before entering the exams room. 6 minutes should be used for close reading, maximum. After close reading, you should be comfortable enough to start answering your comprehension questions. It is possible that you may not have the fast reading framework for implementing these reading techniques in the prescribed time. You may adjust the reading time to how best you deem fit, but you should regardless follow the same reading format of reading and be conscious of your time. Constant practice of answering comprehension questions in this manner can magically increase your reading speed and ultimately enable you to answer questions brilliantly. This approach to reading passages is only needed in the examination room. Failure to practice answering past questions on comprehension passages may not necessarily guarantee success when using this approach. There's a link in the description box about how to answer comprehension questions effectively. You can check it out if you like. That should do it for this video. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to the channel as well.